The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Filip Hronek. Man, oh man. That dude. He's lucky to be Quinn Hughes' best friend, right? He is. Because look at what he just did. But Quinn Hughes, in my opinion, I know this sounds crazy. He's just as lucky to be playing with Filip Hronek. It's just the truth. This signing, this extension, this contract, it matters for everything Vancouver Canucks. Let's talk about it.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, let's do this and give you another episode of Locked On Canucks. We've given you 3 episodes. 3. And I say we because it's a team effort. You involved in this as well, right? I'm not doing this if it's, again, not for you, but also just like the energy. The feeling that is being a Canucks fan, okay? For real. Blessed to do this 3 times a day, if that's so. And it's so much easier to do so because, again, the culture that Locked On teaches us is, giving it to the people by stating it's your team every day, a.k.a. it's your Canucks every day, no matter what. Also, one love to the Don't Doze Art Lab, the place that helps produce this show. Without them, we wouldn't be able to give you a hat trick of that West Coast bias. Hit the like button, subscribe to the show, and let's do this. Let's talk about Filip Hronek doing something pretty extravagant, okay? Can somebody tell me I'm wrong? One love to Sakaris and Price, but this is all new to me. Did he just sign the most expensive contract as a defenseman in Canucks history? That makes sense. And will Filip Hronek, by the end of this, be the second best defenseman of all time for the Vancouver Canucks? You better hope so, right? Because the moment matters. The moment is the present. Speaking of which, I want to be gifted the Stanley Cup. It has to happen with this core, right? A lot going on, and Filip Hronek, a big part of that. Again, did he sign the biggest contract as a defenseman in team history? Maybe. Now, per year, he's not making as much as Quinn Hughes. That was never going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Filip Hronek signed for what? $7.25 over 8 years. That's like $58 million or $247 million in another country. It's a lot of money. But I'm pretty sure Quinn Hughes gets paid like what, $500,000 more? You know what I'm saying? There was no chance that Hronek and his agent and the rumors were going to get their way, right? Wasn't it not too long ago where this guy wanted 8 or nothing? And here they are getting him for 7.25. Still a lot of money, okay? A lot of money. Look at this, Aaron Gray, one of the greatest general managers in ball hockey history. Aaron Gray from Surrey. Too much money over 8 years. Too much money. It's making Aaron nervous, right? Because the Hronek deal and the Hronek money is making him scared of the potential amount Brock Besser is going to make. Speaking of which, Japan, one of the greatest on the program, right? He's saying that Besser is gone unless he takes a discount. Besser is Besser's that guy that has to take a discount. Speaking of discount, will this be a discount at any point? 7.25 per. I think so. I think early on. And I've said this so many times. I've said it all throughout the season. Quinn Hughes needs Filip Hronek to do the same Quinn Hughes things he did this season. Moving forward. Because he was, in some ways, a different player. It's just facts. Quinn Hughes evolved because of Filip Hronek. And we can talk about the ins and outs and the technical ability of those two and the combination, the chemistry between those two in a couple of minutes. But let's keep focusing on Quinn Hughes, the individual. You think this guy wants to go through it again, right? Chris Tanev, Luke Shen, partners that work with this guy. Boom, bam. Next thing you know, he's got another one. His name is Filip Hronek. He's pretty good. Pretty good. Sometimes really good. You think Quinn Hughes wants to go through it again and have to change the way he plays again? Because you're talking about your defensive partner in hockey. That's a thing. Different relationships, different things. And look, all players have to adapt year in and year out, right? Those two collectively as a partnership, they have to get better. They know that to get further into the playoffs. There has to be a new level there. But man, oh man, there is definitely something special there if they can really improve on that. Because man, oh man, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for them to surpass what they did together this season. Okay, I heard a Harmon Dial thing. Okay, a couple hours ago. Donnie and Daly, go check out the latest episode of Donnie and Daly. Harmon explains it so well. I don't really know how to explain it, but there was a stat saying that these two all season long were the best defensive partnership in the game. I think I said that right. I may be paraphrasing Harmon because he used some fancy stats. He has a calculator in his mind. I just got sunglasses. Man, oh man. But he pretty much said it. Hughes, Hronek, the best thing in the sport. That's something. That's special. That's an advantage. It's also an advantage that these two get to, again, improve on what they did. Get up for the challenge. What happens when these two get better together? Quinn Hughes still very young. Filip Hronek still very young. I like it. And it's safe to say that Quinn Hughes had a lot to do with, again, Filip Hronek possibly signing the biggest contract in Canucks history for a defenseman. Am I wrong on that? I'm trying to think who else would do this. Nobody. A lot of good thoughts, a lot of expensive thoughts. Think about Filip Hronek in the beginning of the year. Okay, that's why he's getting paid $7.25. There was something really cool there, individually speaking too. And I know it tailed off as far as points and performance overall in the second half of the season, right? I'm pretty sure this guy had no more than 11 points in his final 50 games of the season, including the playoffs, all while playing with Quinn Hughes the whole time. That's destructive. That can't happen again. But with all that happening, there was still something pretty unique in a positive way about the guy, right? He's always engaged. He's always in the fight. He's a mean dude. He's a strong dude. And defensively speaking, his floor, again, is not that bad. And his ceiling is very efficient as a defender. Very efficient. I'm putting it out there, right? It's that 420 magic somewhere. Only good vibes. Speaking of which, let's get to the comments, okay? Let's do it because the world, man, the locked on world. Feeling, I guess, all over the place. Let's start with here, okay? Hero Wesley saying that 7.25 for 8 years. That's a long time. 8 years is a banging deal. Speaking of a banging deal, right? The trade 14 months ago, 15 months ago. Alvin giving up a lot, giving up the Horvat package pretty much for this dude, a dude that nobody knew. This guy's Patrick Alvin's baby. Yeah, he wasn't going to let this guy go. And there was that whole conversation that Beggsy was having too. And unfortunately, Beggsy couldn't hop on. He's working hard, playing golf. He did hop on the call, though, when I did call him. And he said what? He said what? He sounded annoyed. He sounded annoyed. Really annoyed. He sounded as surprised as he was when the trade happened. It's a lot to take in. But I'm going to trust this management group in their assessment of players. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to stay sane. Where am I going with this? I'm all over the place, man. You best believe I sparked one up before this, okay? What's going on? 3 episodes in a day. I'm all over the place. Circle back to the comments. Hit the like button. Smash the subscribe button, okay? Andrew, one of the greatest of all time. He's saying that it's under 8. It's under $8 million. He's happy with it. That's cool. That's cool. There's some people in the comments talking about Filip Hronek's attitude, okay? Does he have an attitude problem? Doesn't like talking to the media. You saw what he did in that interaction with with Jeff Patterson. It was something else. Again, a lot of attitude there. But the fan in me, right? The 31-and-a-half-year-old fan in me doesn't give a beep about those sort of things, okay? I kind of like the attitude. Not because of moments like that, but because of moments on the ice. Again, an angry dude. This guy's passionate. He's not necessarily a really aggressive player, but he's in the mud. Which means he's a good locker room guy. Again, I started rumors a couple days ago based on something I'm hearing or seeing or hearing or seeing in my mind. Who knows? I'm all over the place, but something is telling me, or someone is telling me, Filip Hronek, one of the most popular players in that dressing room. Olivia saying what? I love the cost certainty. 8 years, that's a long time. That's a long time. He's locked up 8 years. The core. Him and Pettersson. Canucks forever. Bro, don't you think him and Pettersson would, be good friends? Think about it. Think about it. Bob Bluger, he's commenting saying that Hronek gets himself a Devon Taves-like deal. But the difference is we signed him at 26 and the Avs did at 29. Again, Filip Hronek, right-handed defenseman. These guys get paid. He's only 26. What are the other options? Giving 6.5, 6.25 to a dude that's almost 30 or 30 or 31 or 32 in free agency. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of what I'm saying, look at me talk ish about 30-year-olds. Man, oh man. Filip Hronek, 26, will be 30 in 4 years and will be making still 7.25 over the next 4. It's a lot to take in. At the end of the day, right? We want this guy being the second best defenseman in team history. That's just the facts. Look at Kurt. This was the most important signing this offseason, okay? Everything else hinging on this. It's a great piece of business. LFG. The most important piece of business. Bro, a couple hours ago, I hopped on the stream to talk about this. Jake Guentzel. Jake Guentzel, apparently the Canucks can give him the most amount of money and the biggest opportunity. Jake Guentzel. He, on my to-do list, was number 1, not Filip Hronek. On that episode, I said the Canucks aren't going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. They're going to leave that wallet full. They're going to know their budget completely prior to giving Guentzel what he wants. They want to know that they can do their best in a negotiation with him before they spend any other dollar any other way. More notably speaking to this point, in Filip Hronek's way, right? An RFA. What's the rush? What's the rush? Okay, here they are getting it done. Of course, I'm wrong again. It is what it is. Man, oh man. Look at Josh, man. Oh no, John, I'm sorry. John Dryden, 7.25 seems to be good. He brought out the best out of Quinn Hughes. Again, look at the ins and outs of how these guys play. Hronek is always just snapping the puck to Quinn Hughes and does it cleanly. I feel as if 92% of the time in the defensive zone, they're getting out of the zone. They're doing their thing. Sometimes they're skating out of the zone more often than not. Think about the pass they make from the offensive blue line to offensive blue line, right? Left to right, right to left. They just sling that thing around. It's pretty unique. They hit it in tight windows. It opens up different types of offensive deployment. Okay, these two together, this relationship has just started. There's potential for even that to grow, for them to be even more dynamic. Butterfly effect, alternate universe. Think about this, okay? What if Quinn Hughes does get to 100 points? And it was pretty close, right? If the power play does not suck, if it's not atrocious, if it's not historically bad in the second half of the season, Quinn Hughes is a 100-point defenseman. Does the feeling change because of that unbelievable number for a defenseman around Filip Hronek, right? Like, does it change if Quinn gets to 100? Because, like, we need to view this defensive partnership that they have as, A, obviously something that we've never experienced as Canucks fans, but B, an outlier in the NHL. It's an advantage, a blatant advantage. When these two are on the ice, things happen more often than not in the other team's zone. Duos, man. These two are really, really good. It was really, really important to keep these guys together. Look at Kyle Levette telling me that I should slow down. Slow down on talking about being 31 and a half years old. Big love, go win a beer pong tournament, okay? Before you talk ish, okay? You're washed up. You're washed up. Hangia saying that Miller is also locked down for a while too. Patterson, Filip Hronek. JT Miller, man, the core. Dude, these guys better win now. They better win now. They got to do it. They got to do it. I'm 31 and a half years old. I'm balding a lot. And at this young of an age, based on the fact that I do cheer for this team, it's facts. This core, they got to win it now. Please. Japan 4 asking if this means Gensel is gone. I think every hockey person's like this, but I do believe that Alvin, Rutherford, and Tocchet are just really in love with high competitive guys that happen to also be difference makers offensively. Filip Hronek being, to some extent, one of them. But Gensel definitely being that guy. They value top-end talent, and I think they're still in the mix. Like, this team has, to some extent, quite a bit of cap space still. And on that note, I feel as if it's important to the future of this team, the immediate future of this team, if they don't, circle back on any of the remaining UFAs or free agents, just so, again, they can have the full arsenal of negotiation tactics in their disposal when negotiating with Jake Gensel. He's that good. He's that good. And you add that guy to the mix, it adds to the culture that is building in Vancouver. It's the high motor, man. It's the compete. It's the care. Gensel is definitely not out of the mix. What other comments should I get to, man? One love to the people, man. One love to the people, man. Ooh, I like this one, okay? I like this one. Disturb. Breaking it down, okay? One love to Disturb. One of those guys on Locked On Canucks, too, okay? He's part of the Discord. This guy's just a legend, okay? One of the most passionate people I've seen when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks. He's breaking it down like this, okay? He's saying that Darnell Nurse, Drew Doughty, Zach Werenski, Erik Karlsson, Rasmus Dahlin, Seth Jones, Adam Fox, and McAvoy. Charlie McAvoy all make $9.5 million or more. Hronek at 7.25 is a steal. Okay, so I've talked about all the good things. I've briefly talked about any of the bad things. But for whatever reason, initially, again, this is the pessimism in me sometimes. Like when I saw this deal go down, it it still hit like it was a lot for a guy that, again, was a significantly different player in the second half of the season. Like, just look at the numbers. Like, what happened there? What happened there? I'm looking at that defenseman and then comparing him to the 7.25 that he's about to make. And I'm also comparing him to Darnell Nurse. Like, not stylistically, but like, yo, if we get that version of Filip Hronek, right? That second half Filip Hronek, then again, I went there. I went to a dark place. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. Whew. Man, oh man. Kyle Levette's saying that Jake Ensel, right? Jake Ensel, there's like that Pittsburgh connection there. Might be easier for us to get him. I mentioned this in the Discord. I mentioned this on that episode I dropped 2 hours ago. I might have mentioned it on the Red Wedding episode that me and Trevor dropped this morning. Holy ish, we doing a lot today. But I'll say it again, man. There's a secret reason why the Canucks want Jake Ensel. There's a secret reason why the Canucks want to, stay super, super competitive over the next couple of years. And it involves, some cheap contracts to Demko and Quinn Hughes and, just the intangibles of just getting there, right? We have Rick Tocchet. There's a system here. There's some structure here. There's a path to, being in the dance every April. But man, oh man, it is especially special for this management group and this coach to seem desirable right now and pretty Pittsburgh, because man, oh man, they're doing it. They're doing it, especially if the Florida Panthers win tonight. The Canucks are going to make sure they bring the Stanley Cup back to Vancouver, and they're going to do it because they're going to find a way to bring Sidney Crosby home. You know who likes playing with Jake Ensel? Sidney Crosby, okay? For real. And where did Sidney Crosby have his number 2 most special moment of his hockey career? Exactly. Am I doing too much right now? Let me get out of here, okay? My name's Kyle Bound, KYLEBHAWAN. One love to the Locked On Podcast Network. Man, oh man, 3 episodes in one day. That's crazy, man. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the show. Your Canucks, man, the most entertaining team in the biz. I don't give a beep. That's just the truth. And we're getting that Stanley Cup pretty soon. And F the Oilers. Go Florida, go. Congrats to Roberto Luongo. Did I say that too early? Hey, I don't know when you're watching this. Anywho, have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night. I don't know when you listen to this, like I said, or watching this if you're not doing so live. But man, oh man. We at Locked On, we at the Don't Dose Art Lab, Begsy and I, we truly do appreciate it. One love to you and you. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team